Hello and shalom. It is Wednesday, January 8th, 2020, and you are probably thinking, where are you now? I am coming to you from my bunker. And it's kind of a funny story how this bunker came to be. I'm in my basement and I'm in this tiny little root cellar closet, and it is filled with rice and beans. See all the beans? And rice and buckets of dried fruit and gallons of water. Like, this is a bunker, and the Jehovah's Witnesses who shun me are missing out because I would have been able to take care of y'all had Armageddon started. You would have been welcomed in my basement, but I'm an evil apostate, so I guess not. But okay, so you're probably wondering, why did you title this video World War III? I'm going to title it something like World War III and cults. I don't know. I really have a difficult time titling videos, but it's a little clickbaity. But the reason why I'm titling it that is because in the last 24 hours since this whole showdown with Trump and Soleimani, the Iranian general, has gone down, I've gotten several texts from people saying, do you think World War III is going to erupt? My dog is coming down here. She's like, why is my mom in the closet? Nilla! So, yeah, I'm getting these texts from people. Do I think World War III is going to happen? And it's so interesting to me thinking about what my answer to that question would have been, number one, as a Jehovah's Witness, and number two, when I was first waking up, and what my answer is today. So had this question been asked while I was a Jehovah's Witness, I would have thought, absolutely, Babylon the Great is going to be... I would talk to people like this at work. People, my form of informal witnessing was fear-mongering. And I would say things like, well, look at world conditions. They're just going from bad to worse. And the Bible talks about this, how the next thing we're going to see happen is the fall of all false religions, and then Armageddon's going to come. So I was basically trying to help people get the timeline down and be on the lookout for the collapse of all world religions. And people would listen to me. So as a Jehovah's Witness, I would have said yes. This World War III possibility situation is going to be the start of Armageddon, the Great Tribulation. Then I started waking up and... Whoa, that was fun. Not. See, okay, so now you can see, is this still recording? What even happened? I'm too lazy to hold my phone. That was fun. Okay, so then when I was waking up as from the cult known as Jehovah's Witnesses or Watchtower, I found this soft cult. I don't even want to use the C word with that group, but honestly, now looking back, I think I was very vulnerable and ripe. I was easy pickings for another group that also employed the same fear-mongering techniques that Jehovah's Witnesses employ. But I don't have any regrets. I don't know if I could have exited any differently for my own sanity, because the time that I spent in that group, it's online. I don't think it's a cult, but I don't think it's a healthy place. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm also not going to say the name of it because there's a bunch of people in that group who are very, very, very dear to my heart. And everybody's on their own journey, and it is not my place to point fingers and tell people what to do or where to go. It just stopped being a place that, number one, made sense. Number two, was loving. It stopped being logical and loving. And so I just, like Jesus said, leave them be. So I leave them in shalom, in peace. But while I was in that group, which was all online, I was actually, I think, watching a Lloyd Evans video or something like that. And in the comment section was this website, and I went to it, or a YouTube channel, and I went to it, and I had never even heard of this group. and basically he's a Watchtower apologist and totally is obsessed with World War III. So now we get to like, why am I in this weird bunker? So I joined this group and everything was like, oh yeah, it was around the time of the election when Donald Trump got elected president of the United States, and it was Trump versus Hillary. And all of his daily posts were about that and how the world was going to end if Trump got elected or if Hillary got, no, I think he said that the world was going to end, like Armageddon was going to start or the Great Tribulation was going to start if Hillary got elected. And I was freaking out. I was thinking like, people are going to be running in the streets, like eating each other. And so I want to stay in my house. I don't want to have to like venture out. There's not going to be any food in grocery stores. And so I don't even eat rice and beans, but they're very cheap and like high calorie food. And so I bought all of this food. I stocked this bunker and now it's like expiring. So, but whatever, like there could be like a super, super horrible blizzard that lasts 3 months, which is not going to happen, but I'm prepared. It's a reminder, actually, all of this is a reminder to not allow my emotions and feelings to direct my decisions, to really take a step back and ask questions like, does this make sense? What is driving my choices right now? Is it based on fear? What am I really reacting to? What am I afraid of? Those questions. Like I said, being like basic preparedness. I do have a to-go bag still, actually. I don't even think that's a bad idea to have a to-go bag because, I mean, look what's happening in Australia. People who have to flee. Speaking of Australia, koalas were my favorite animal when I was a kid. And so I have so prayers to Australia right now. It is just devastating what is happening there. It's terrible. And I don't know why it's happening. I don't really have an opinion as far as this whole climate change stuff. I'm still figuring out what I believe regarding all of that. Please don't murder me in the comment section for saying that. But yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh, we're at 7 minutes already. This bunker is a visual reminder to me that charismatic, at face value, very knowledgeable people are out there who just freely spew their thoughts, especially when it comes to things like Bible prophecy, and to always listen with caution. And I think that is totally in line with scripture, like 1 John 4, 1-4, about test every inspired utterance. And honestly, the main reason why I ended up leaving that group is because I asked some questions. Well, I saw some behaviors that I didn't like. For example, the leader of that group would resort to name calling and kicking people out of the group, which felt like shunning to me. It's like, why can't we have an open dialogue where we can disagree on things and just talk about it? Like, I just came from a group where you just get kicked out if you have questions. So I didn't like that. It didn't sit well with me. And then I started asking questions about the new covenant and Jesus' words commanding his followers to really partake of the emblems at the memorial. And that was where everything kind of diverged. But like I said, somebody is going to come over here because they bought me more Christmas presents. It's like there's these people who work at the restaurant who've kind of taken me under their wing. They're so sweet. And they think I'm so funny. They're like, you're like a 40-year-old baby. You've never experienced your birthday. This is your first Christmas, which I didn't like really, I don't know. I think Christmas is actually pretty joyful. And, but I didn't celebrate it in my house to respect my husband because he didn't want me to. But anyway, but these people are so sweet. They just keep showering me with these gifts and I'm like, stop, you're too kind. They're like, no, it's so fun shopping for you because you've never experienced any of these things. So these are the experiences that just tickle my heart, and on the days where it's hard, being grateful for experiences and people like this who have come into my life now. Okay, so when I was in phase 2 of waking up, if someone had said, "Do you think this is the beginning of World War III?" I would have said, "Absolutely, and I have a bunker." Today, is this the brink of World War III? I don't know. I certainly hope it isn't, because war is horrible. So many people die, but then, imagine if the Allied forces hadn't stood up to Hitler. Like, he would have just continued on his murder spree. Like, these are very complex issues. I'm not going to get into that, but where I am at right now, and if you are a former Jehovah's Witness with or without faith, like, you're just mainly to those who still are struggling to hold on to some sort of faith in a personal God who genuinely loves you. The reason why I don't feel fear about anything really is because I know who I am now. I know my identity. I know that I am saved by grace because of what Jesus did on the cross. And it's so beautiful. And there's this illustration of like two rocks. Like, one is um like earth and sin, like humanity and sin, and then the other rock is heaven. And when I say heaven, heaven is just where God is. It doesn't mean like a place in the sky, but like what crosses you over onto that is the cross and what Jesus did, and it's done. And all you have to do is accept it. It's just the most beautiful gift of grace. So whether there is a world war or a tragedy, I'm not afraid of dying. And not that I was afraid of dying when I was a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know. I was afraid of suffering, but I'm not even really, I don't think about that a lot. I don't want to suffer, of course, but it's not something that preoccupies me. And so what do we do in the meantime while we just live our lives? This was a passage of scripture that Watchtower does not talk about a lot, at least not from my recollection. And it's in Jeremiah 29, verses 5-7. I'm just going to read it really quick. So the nation of Israel and Judah are exiled to Babylon. And are they told to just not get higher education and live in bunkers or live in the attic and just wait on Jehovah? Is that what they're told? Not exactly. Jeremiah 29, 5-7. Build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there, do not decrease. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you in exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Like, wow, what a contrast between what Jehovah's Witnesses are told to do while they're in exile, living on this planet as alien residents. If we are exiled in Babylon the Great right now, and I don't equate Babylon the Great with just false religion, it's anything that has you captive. Like, we're captive of this world right now because we haven't seen the fullness of our adoption. We're still living on this plane. But from that scripture, basically, I think Martin Luther puts it best. I think he said something along the lines, I'm not quoting this exactly, this is by memory, but he said, expect the Lord, how does it go? Wait in expectation of the Lord as if he's coming tomorrow, but plant a tree today. I think that's the best advice as to how to go through life. And I've been getting some questions and comments from people who I think still are partially in with, like, they're confused about what to believe. And when you're told your whole life for decades and decades and decades that whenever there's a thunderstorm or like these big fires in Australia, like catastrophic things going on in the world, like that means Armageddon is right around the corner. Maybe Jesus is right around the corner, but In the meantime, plant a tree today. Follow Jeremiah's words of get married, have children, live your life. He even says, seek peace and prosperity of the city to which you are exiled. So wherever you are, like, be a healthy contributing member of your community. So those are just a few thoughts. And I hope everybody's well. And I'm just so glad that I don't have to live from fear anymore. Now I live from gratitude because of grace. So, shalom.